we have our forecast readily available anywhere you want so that you can get it used.
Okay, so you mentioned that there's one for checking flood risk. Can you mention the name again, as in when there's a storm coming, the app that is available
Yes,
here for Ghana here?
yeah, it's my Flood Risk Accra app.
Okay,
If you go to the Play Store, you just type my Flood Risk Accra. You
okay,
get it. You download it, and then you get to use it. But
okay,
it's limited for only Accra. So when
okay.
you pick it, and when the storm is coming, we work with it, and then it gives the alert to wherever you are, and then it gives you the information to work with.
All right. So with this app and then other mobile weather apps, how does it usually get the data? How does it gather the data and then use it to give us the weather forecast?
I think it's used in terms of the AI, that's the artificial intelligence that is coming of age now, the machine learning. It used the scripting to gather informations across board. So if for instance in Ghana we they send our daily observational data hourly to the global system, of which they have access to it. So they used their script to get these things, and then also the satellite and the radars that we have across the globe, and then they come up with the forecast. That is what they've been doing with their script or with their technology in the past and even now.
Okay, okay. So looking at what we are doing here, how we say that what we are providing, how does that compare with what globally is available when it comes to the mobile weather apps that are available?
Yes, GMAT, our forecast, we are tailored to Ghana specific weather patterns and then the climate condition. And we leverage on the local knowledge that we have and the data that we gather from across our weather stations, both the manual and then the automatic weather stations data. Now, we also use the global data that comes together, the numerical product that has to do with the charts. And then we get all these things together, and then we use it. For our seasonal forecast, we use the CPT, the climate prediction tools that help us to have access to the satellite data, have certain data over the ocean, over the land, put them together with our local data, and then run it in the system. The sub-seasonal tool, we also do similar thing, and that give us every 2 weeks outlook how the week will look like. So we have the long-term mean data locally, fuse it with the satellite derived that use this mini supercomputers or supercomputers that derived it using the mathematical equations or the coding system to run it, and then we also input our data in, run it, and then get it. So that's what we have been doing.
Okay, so just before the show, I think one of the questions that Evans asked me was, are these apps or these predictions, these forecasts, are they accurate? So I just want to find out from you concerning that could there be factors? What factors can affect the accuracy of the forecast that would be given?
Okay, the apps in question is not made for us in Ghana. So it has its limitations. And then as times goes on, they also keep updating to make sure that they keep up par with the changes climate that we find ourselves in. So with their now casting system, some may be accurate, but then some may not be. But then with time, they'll keep updating. But we've not taken keen interest in verifying their forecast,
Okay.
validating it to know whether it is very accurate for Ghanaians to use or not. We've not done that much. One or two, we've tried it, and some works for some, a short range, between a day or two, and then some also work between an hour to 6 hours. But then, in terms of the medium to long term, um, we can't really say much, but then they all use the global data system that we at Ghana Meteorological Agency we use. But then we had our local traditional methods of forecasting into it. What they are using is not for we, the tropics, is the temperate system
Okay.
part that they develop the apps for. So as time goes on, they may try to scale it down to us to mimic our conditions in the tropics, and then with time it may also improve their accuracy. But currently I can't really say that it is very accurate for us to use. No, I can't do that for now.
Okay. Okay. So now, if someone is listening to us, and because we are talking about this, how to check the weather and from your phone, because of the options that we currently have in place, when they are to open the weather app, what should be the first thing that they look out for, and then how can they interpret that as well?
Okay. If we get the forecast on our phones, the first thing that you need to check is the date of that forecast,
Okay.
whether it's current or is the past one. If you get the current, and then another thing is to check the location, because they most times use the GPS. So you check the location that the forecast is meant for. At times, if you don't set it, maybe you have it in Accra, but then you are in Kumasi, so it will be giving you the forecast for Accra.
A
Meanwhile, you are
different location.
thinking that you are
Yeah.
in Kumasi, so the forecast is for Kumasi. So you need to check the date, the time, and then the location. Then also you should know whether the understand the symbols that the display, the figures that has to do with temperatures, mostly the minimum and the maximum
Okay.
temperatures, and then the icons that has to do is cloudy, is partly cloudy, is sunny, is going to be hot, or is going to have thunderstorms with or without rain, and then also some sort of lightning. So you need to understand all these things and be able to use it.
Okay, so talking about whether it's sunny, thunderstorm, what are can we describe some of the icons at least so that for someone listening, when they open their weather app and then they see that, then they can tell, okay, this is what I should be expecting at least per the area that I'm in, and then what I'm reading from the weather app.
Okay, so for the icons, for the clouds, if you see a sun with some few whitish things around it, that shows that it's going to be partly cloudy. So you have some sun, you have some few clouds in the sky. If you see another one that is the same thing, but then has a rain symbol in it, it also signifies that it's going to be partly cloudy, and then also there is a chance that there will be some rain showers over some places. Then we have another one that is covers the whole place, is cloudy. And that one too, once you see it like that, no rain embedded in it, it tells you that that day or that hour is expected to be cloudy. But then if you see lightning, or a symbol like an L shape in it, or a Sigma shape in it, then you should know that it's going to be a thunderstorm. That will have the thunder sound, the lightning, and possible some windy conditions. We also have a symbol for windy, which is arrows in the horizontal direction, or position or orientation. So with like an arrow. So once you see it, you should know that yes, they are anticipating that the winds will it will be windy over your places. And then we have misty and foggy symbols. Those ones tells you that visibilities will be affected. And then when it's misty, it's going to be less than 5,000 or less than 10,000 meters. But then if it's foggy, it's going to be less than 1,000 meters. So it's also tells you, and most times you see it in a form of a cloud, and then they write in it mist. And the standard one that we use with the World Meteorological Organization, the symbols with the mist, you see a horizontal lines, short lines like equal signs, but then in triples with some spaces in between. So you know that okay, this is mist. Then if you have it thick, you know that this is fog. If the top one is open, then it tells you that the sky will be open, but then the surface will be very blur in terms of visibilities. Then if the down portion, we have a gap in between the two dashed lines, then it indicates that the surface may be good in terms of visibility, but slightly above the a certain threshold, the sky is will be obscured. You will not be able to see through to the sky. So that is some of the symbols that we make use of. And then also you for the night time, most times you see the moon, full moon with some few clouds. It's also the same thing that will have partly cloudy. You see a half or a quarter moon with the clouds around it. It's also telling you that yes, they are not anticipating much clouds. Then there is another one that you see almost all the full moon is covered with clouds. So that is also saying that it's going to be mostly cloudy over that particular area.
Okay. There's a lot of education. So I think it would just be good for us to go over it. If someone sees the sun icon, what does it actually mean? And then we can talk about like what you mentioned, if it's a thunderstorm icon, what it actually means so that at least they can take note of it. I know we have touched on it in a way, but it would just be good for us to go over it so that for someone listening in, they can know exactly what to do.
Okay, so for the partly cloudy icon, it suggests a mix of sun and clouds with some period of sunshine and some cloud cover. And then it implies that you have a variable weather conditions throughout the day,
Okay.
potential for some sunshine, also possible cloud cover, and then maybe precipitation, as I said earlier on. So if you have the clouds with the sun, mostly is yellow, the color of the sun, round with the clouds on it. Some use the stars to represent the sun because to show the sun rays around it. And then you have half of it being covered. That means that it's going to be partly cloudy. Then some too, you see it covered the whole sky.
Yeah.
And that means that it's going to be cloudy throughout the time of the forecast, the duration of the forecast, or the validity of the forecast. That's the app is indicated. So, for instance, if this evening between 7 and 8, the icon that is put there is a moon with some few clouds on it, that tells us that this is going to be a partly cloudy sky. We don't expect anything much. But then if you have the symbol of a rain in it, then it indicates that it will be partly cloudy. Then also you have some precipitation coming out of it, or rain coming out of it. And the same interpretation goes for during the daytime, where you have
Okay.
the sun embedded in the clouds. Then also we have the fog or the hazy icons. These ones indicates that visibilities will be reduced due to atmospheric conditions. So in terms of caution, you need to reduce your speed. You need to drive carefully. And then also, if you are sensitive or have a sensitive eyes, dust particles will be in suspension. So you need to get some sun glasses, or
Okay.
some good glasses to protect your eyes. And then it goes on and on and on and on. Then the figures that I've mentioned earlier on,
Mm-hmm.
the figures, we have temperatures, which comes in low or high. The low on the weather apps means minimum temperature for the day. That is at the early hours of the day, the temperatures that is anticipated is the minimum. So if you see 26, it means that the field temperature, the temperature at that hour, if it's 6 a.m., will be 26. Then if you see a high of 33, that means in the afternoon, the sun is going to heat up to that
Okay.
uh, figure, which may be a bit uncomfortable. You feel warm.
Mm-hmm.
If some areas will get maybe 34, some areas you see 36. So it indicates that as the number increases, in terms of comfortability, in terms of the feel of the temperatures or the heat that you'll be receiving from the solar radiation will be higher. So if you are in the morning hours, you see 22, it means that temperatures will be cool, just like we do with our air conditions in our rooms.
Mm-hmm.
When you set it to 16, you put it on cold, you put it on cool, you see the variations.
Yeah.
Similar thing applies to temperatures when it comes to the atmosphere.
Okay. Okay. So I have a question. Talking about the partly cloudy, does it mean when I'm to see that, and depending on the period, I'm safe not to maybe carry an umbrella? Can I be certain that it will not rain until I've seen the rainy icon or the thunderstorm?
So that is, if you see a partly cloudy icon for just 1 hour, that one is not enough. Maybe you are going to stay outdoor for like 6 hours. So you
Okay.
need to get the whole period that you'll be outside.
Okay.
So from 6 a.m. till 12 noon, if the indication is that it's going to be partly cloudy or it's going to be sunny, then you decide on what to do. If it's going to be sunny and it's not going to be windy, then you can also carry umbrellas. And it also determines if, depending on where you are going, if you are going into the midst of people, handling an umbrella in the midst of people too is also a little bit of a challenge.
Mm.
And also, if you are going to be in the open, it's also another thing. Or you are going to an indoor and a closed area, it is also something that you need to decide on. Then also, if you pick the 6 a.m. to 12 noon,
Mm-hmm.
and it indicates that between 9 and 12 is going to be cloudy, and then rain clouds or rain symbol is in there,
Mm-hmm.
it means that it's going to rain between 9 and 12. So you need to take an umbrella or a raincoat along, or you manage your time so that between that time you should be at a safer place. If you are going for a program, you should make sure that between that time maybe you are indoors, so that after the rain you can start going home or back to wherever you are coming from.
Okay. Okay. So at least what I'm getting is that it's not just for short periods. It will be good just to check for a longer period, depending on what you are going to do. That's if you're going to be out for long or otherwise. At least you have a better idea. Possibly even the whole day, if you can check to see from 6 to 12, and then from 12 to 6, you have a better idea, and then you know how to plan towards that. I think that's good. So some apps that we know have UV index icons or air quality levels, and what do these mean for our health? If you have access to this information, what does it mean?
Yes, now the concern keep increasing or rising because of global warming that we find ourselves in, and then the air quality, the air that we breathe in. So most of the apps comes with it, the UV index. And this one tells you that the ultraviolet radiation from the sun that will be reaching us. So it will help you to protect yourself from the sun radiation. So the higher the values, the bad it is. So if you have a higher values of the UV, then you need to take precautions by using sunshade creams or using a hat if you are going to do a lot of outdoor activities. And then also the type of clothes that you need to put on, especially cotton based, are good for us, those of us in the tropics. And then also in terms of the air quality too, we've all experienced what happened right away from 2023 down to 2024 Hamatan season. So even now that it's even raining, some areas the air quality is not good. So once they indicate it is yellow, is orange, it indicates that the air quality is poor. So you need to take certain precautions. But if you see it green, it means that it's safe, that you can walk in it freely. If you don't have any respiratory challenges, you are okay to go with the green and then a little bit of the yellow. But if you have a health issue, then you need to see your medical practitioner for an advice. And then also on your own to you try to limit your outdoor activities.
Okay. So if someone checks and then it's like yellow, like you're saying, will it be safe to use a nose mask and feel free to do your movements?
Most definitely, it depend on the individual conditions that we find
Okay.
ourselves in. So if you are sensitive, you have a respiratory uh, uh, challenge, then you need to do with the nose mask because of the quality of the air that we have around nowadays due to the climate change issues. So once you see yellow and above, definitely you must use a nose mask, a good one.
Okay. Okay. So in our discussion and bringing our listeners and ourselves, creating the awareness on how to use these weather apps, I think one of the questions on my mind right now would be, what would be the best time to check the weather app to know what to do? Like, is there a specific time in the day that you would have to check it? And then the next question would be, how long can you trust this forecast? Like, is it in a day, two, 1 week? Can you share that with us?
Yes, I can share with you. The trust, the accuracy. For Ghana Meteorological Agency, we keep validating our forecast. Last week, the forecast that we brought to the public domain is when we did the validation, we scored 70%, so which is a good score. And so you
Okay.
need to depend on the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Now, the best time to check the forecast depends on the individuals. But then it's good that you get it first thing in the morning,
Okay.
especially our morning forecast, and then the evening forecast, so that you know that okay, between 6 a.m. and the following day 6 a.m., you know what we are anticipating that the weather will be like. Then you can plan your activities. If you have the evening one too, that takes you all the way to the following day evening. You plan your activity. You also know that okay, the following day, the morning to 12, 12 to 18, this is what is going to happen. So it will pre-inform you on what to do if you have an outdoor activities, or you need to travel to a flood prone area. You can reschedule that
Okay.
a meeting or that program. And then also we have our seasonal forecast, which
Okay.
is good to plan a long term. We have the weekly forecast, the whole week, Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday, sorry. And if you are planning program on Friday this week and you pick our seasonal forecast and your area is painted yellow or orange color, it's also an indication that will help you make a decision that okay, the outdoor program that I want to do is better I do it an indoor, or even reschedule it to a different date. And this is where the thing comes in, that you need to request for the forecast
Okay.
before you even set your date for that program. So that if you give you the forecast, maybe the whole monthly outlook or the whole week outlook, the days that will be dry, then you can take those dates as the date for your event and
Okay.
plan it so that you don't have a problem with rain on that day.
Okay. So you spoke about requesting for the weather forecast. So if someone is listening to her, how can they go about that if they want to know, plan ahead maybe a week, or like the seasonal forecast that you're talking about? How can they have access to that information?
Yes, they can reach us on our social media handles or by going to the website. Our details are there. You can request to the client service, then they will pick your request done to you as soon as possible.
Okay. So it's mentioned social media pages. Okay. Can
Yes,
we yeah, can we get the actual handles?
so we have the social media handles, the YouTube, so we have the Ghana Meteorological Agency, uh, that has to do with the media.gh. And for the YouTube, you just go to Ghana Meteorological Agency. You have it. For Let's Talk Weather is a WhatsApp channel. You can get us on 0553538 292, and then you get it on Twitter. You have Ghana Met, you get it. For Facebook, we have Ghana Met Forecast Office. For Instagram, we have Ghana Meteorological Agency, so you can get it. And then we are on Telegram too. Let's Talk Weather. So if you get this, you'll be able to have any of our forecast that is available to the Ghanaian community.
Okay. I think we're losing you at a point. So if you can just go over it one more time.
Okay. For the website, we have it at meteo.gov.gh, www.meteo.gov.gh. When you go there, you get all the forecasts that we have been producing, both the seasonal and the short-ranged forecast. For email, you can send us an email to kafo@meteo.gov.gh for customized forecast request. For YouTube, we have it Ghana Meteorological Agency. For WhatsApp, we have it Let's Talk Weather, and the number attached is 0553538 292. For Telegram, is Let's Talk Weather. You can check us there, or if you go to WhatsApp channel, you can search for us Let's Talk Weather, and you get our channel to join. The Twitter, we have it at Ghana Met, on Twitter, or that is X now. For Facebook, we have GMET Forecast Office. Instagram, we have it Ghana_meteorological_agency, and that is for the Instagram. So all these channels, you have access to us. Our 3 times daily weather forecast, our weekly forecast, our midweek forecast, and our weekend forecast, together with our sub-seasonal and then the seasonal
Okay.
forecast.
Okay, so all this is shared there. If you're listening to us, it would be good just to check and follow the social media pages so that at least you are very much aware of what is happening based on what is shared. I want to ask you this question. So for someone who is listening in, right, whether the person is a worker, a parent, or um, students, they attend school, like why would it be important for them to follow the forecast, especially during this rainy season? What would you say is the very important reason why they should be following?
Yes, it's key for us as parents to be critical, or get the forecast, because um, if my child will be in school today, the child's safety should be my concern. The classroom closures is also something that we need to look out for in terms of class schedule adjustment, in terms of alternative arrangements. So once as a parent we know that there is a storm coming, then we can definitely plan, and not as parents too, but then as proprietors, as headmasters or headmistress, or as management of schools. If you get the forecast for the week, for the month, you can plan all the outdoor activities. Heavy rain can create hazardous working conditions, especially for our outdoor the program. So when it comes into the student settings, break times, they need to go out to go and play, but then there is a storm approaching. So as a parent, as a teacher, once you get to know, you will be able to advise or see what you can do, because children definitely love to play in rain, and at times some of these rains are not good or safe for them to do. And then another aspect to has to do with to stay safe and then to plan ahead of time. So these are some of the things that we need to do as parents to save our children. In terms of the flash floods that are occurring nowadays, so depending on where your school is, you need to know, so that if you allow your child to go to school, or you schedule to pick the child before the rain starts at that particular environment.
Got it. Got it. So it's very important. I'm going to ask you one question and then I come to some more. Can we fully rely on the weather apps, or should we just treat it as some kind of guide, like information for us?
I would suggest that we use it as a guide for now, but then let's get stay tuned to GMET to get the GMET forecast regularly, and then monitor, because if it's sunny, we know that a storm is coming. I think yesterday, after the Sunday's rain, we came out and to say that, yeah, there is a storm coming from Nigeria that will keep monitoring. And today we released a warning, and currently the storm is within the country. So we indicated the areas that the storm will affect, those that will have the strong winds, those that will have just the rain, those that will have just the clouds. So we indicated it in the warning, and then also in the evening forecast for today. So
Okay.
if as a nation, as an individual, we get this thing, it will help us to plan our activities. We may not be able to mention all the towns, but then we are using the color code shading. So once your area is shaded with that particular color, you should know that whatever conditions that we anticipate will be what you experience over that area.
Okay, okay. That's so good to know. So coming to you, Samuel. I mean, based on the discussions that we have had so far, I know you shared some of the apps initially, but are there other apps, weather apps that we can take a look at for people to use based on the conversations that we have had so far?
Yeah, so I'll probably end up mentioning the same apps again, but I'll add some more.
Okay.
So there's the AccuWeather, ACCU Weather. There's the Weather Channel, Met Office, and Windy. Those are the ones that are very popularly known. They are popularly known because of the precision and the number of times they refresh their data. So one thing about these apps, the use of these apps is that the data that we have, the reason why she mentioned that before you set up your day, you have to check to see how the whole day is going, not just one icon, is because sometimes the data that they have changes during the day. For instance, if the rain is coming, you can predict that the rain will come at this section, but the wind can blow the clouds away from that particular area that the rain started. So it might say it's starting here, but it might just be just a minute and then you move somewhere else. So you're able to check these apps and read the data that's being refreshed all day long.
Yeah.
Then you get more something that's more accurate. And with that too, I also talk about the percentages. When you look at the percentages in the apps, sometimes they write 20%, 30%. The 20% doesn't mean that it will rain. It just tells you that there's a probability that it might rain, which is 20%, so that you prepare for it. The reason why they don't show you that it's 80% sunny is because they would just want you to be prepared ahead that it may rain, just for you to just be aware. So when you see the percentages, they are not mean it's going to rain only 20% of the rain. It means that you're supposed to be prepared by just being aware that there's a likeliness for the rain to fall. Even with the 70%, the one that is very accurate is the 100%. Yeah. So when you're stepping out there, just be prepared that you don't go in without any knowledge at all. That's why we have the data being spread with a number of hours. So I'm going to mention them again.
Okay.
So the ACU weather, ACCU weather, the weather channel. This is the weather channel. Met Office, Carrot weather, and then Windy. They are the popular ones.
So these are all available on both Android.
Yes,
and
both
iOS.
Android and iOS.
You can download
yes,
it.
but the default app, as I said, works just fine.
Got it. The default app on your phone works just as fine, but then you can have these as supplementary applications to use. We have a message here. It says, hello geeks, nice topic on tonight's show. I use the weather app a lot in my daily activities. Truth be told, on Sunday morning I got a feed on the weather, 70% chance of rain around 4 p.m. So I decided to do my chores such as washing and cleaning early. Lo and behold, I woke up around 6:30 p.m. after I went to have a nap around 4 and started hearing about others being affected by the rain. Indeed, it helps a lot, and I advise all to start using it. This is Zed Akwetiman. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Zed. Thank you for sharing that with us. We also have another message. So this person is asking, why don't we see... Okay, so let me just confirm this well. So some time back we had the weather forecast being showed on the television, but then we don't get to see that again. So someone is asking, why don't we see that anymore? Felicity, if you can take that for us.
Yeah, it's a challenge though, because it has to do with the TV channels that we have nowadays. But then some are still helping. For instance, TV3, GTV during their breakfast show. And then thankfully Joy FM at times they call to get the forecast across to their listeners. So but then we see, for now there is nothing we can do unless the station comes to us as an organization that they need our forecast on their TVs. We will definitely make it available to them.
Okay, so Felicity, let me ask, what is delaying our app from being ready so that we can also start using that?
Number one is the resources that we need to put in to get it done. The money, the cash to get it done. So we are hoping that things will improve, and then we will definitely make it happen. Personally, we were thinking that by now my flood risk Accra would have been done for the entire country, but then we are still at one stage. So we are hoping that before the year runs out, we will get it. And it's a call to everyone that is into app develop distance. They can come to us at GMET and see what they can help us achieve with our data that we have.
That's good to know. I think we can throw it out there and see how best we can have that done. So it's to all developers actually. If you're listening in, this is from Ghana Met. Any kind of support that we can have and put in place in terms of idea sharing, in terms of implementation, so that we can have a weather forecast app from Ghana Met where we can use that and know that at least we will have some kind of accuracy that we know we are producing ourselves. That would really help. This is Geek Squd with your girl Adobea Biritwum. Geek Squd is brought to you by MTN everywhere you go. We've been having a conversation on how we can use mobile weather apps to at least give us some information when we are stepping out, taking any activities, and the weather is concerned. I'm having a conversation with Felicity and also Samuel Boating. At this point, we are going to be taking the quick tech fixes. We will be back after that.
Hello everyone, my name is Michelle Jakum, and as usual, I bring you some tech quick fixes and tips right here on Joy Geek Squd. Today let's talk about how to set up Do Not Disturb on Android. Want fewer distractions while you work, sleep or drive? Android's Do Not Disturb feature helps you control when and how you get notifications. Here's a quick guide. 1. Open Settings. Tap Settings on your phone. 2. Go to Modes or Do Not Disturb. On Pixel, Android 15, go to Settings, then Modes, then Do Not Disturb. On Samsung, that's One UI 7, you go to Settings, Notifications, and then Do Not Disturb. 3. Pick up a mode. Choose Do Not Disturb, Bedtime, or Driving. 4. Customize. Allow certain apps or contacts if needed. 5. Set a schedule. Automate it for work, sleep, or travel. And that's it. Stay focused when it matters most.
Welcome back. This is Geek Squd with your girl Adobea Biritwum. Geek Squd is brought to you by MTN everywhere you go. Tonight we've been having a conversation on how we can use our weather apps on our mobile to predict or forecast the weather before we take any activity. And I'm having a conversation with Felicity, Ahafianyo, and Samuel Boating. And so far we've shared quite a number of things on how there's a need for us to be checking the weather as much as possible, even getting updates from the Ghana Met social media pages and then the weather applications that are available on our phones. At least with that, we would be able to do some kind of forecasting. Felicity, I have a question for you. So based on what we have said, we've spoken about parents, their role, we've spoken about schools and all that, but the main question that I have for you right now, and I think some more you can also answer after Felicity is done, is that what roles can school, media, and then community leaders play in helping people understand and use weather apps? Like, should we start teaching in school how they can read? Because there are times that even currently, like, we have people riding some of these ride hailing apps, like maybe Uber or Bolt or something of the sort, and sometimes it's even difficult for the driver to read the map. So talking about weather now, what can we put in place so that we can help people use these weather apps that we have even spoken about on the show? I'll come to you first, Felicity.
Okay, thank you. I think it's something that needs to be done, and I'm sure they've started at the secondary level, especially in geography, where they have some a chapter that deals with weather and climate. So they introduce them to some of the definitions that they can do with. But then it's something that needs to be in our curriculum, right from the basic all the way to tertiary, so that we get ourselves acquainted with it. Then also in terms of the general public, the media play a role, and just what you are doing today, you are creating the awareness, you are creating the education, so that people can really understand that oh, there are other options of having access to the weather forecast, and then what it tells you, what you can do with it, and then we are moving forward. So the media in general, we need to come on board, because if you go to the temperature, if you go to Europe, you go to America, when they are in their hurricane season, every 15 minutes there is a presenter talking about the weather forecast. UK Met always on the TV, just every 30 minutes, once they've done with the news, the next thing is the weather forecast. Whether it is sunny, whether it's winter, the snow is there or not, they keep updating. Then when it's in a season of severe rainstorms or heat waves, every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, they give updates that this is what is going on, the storm that we are anticipating, or it has entered the country. But then those around Ketekrachi, those around Salaga, we expect theirs to be moderate. But then those in Begro, those in Akimoda, we expect them to have severe impact. So you see that then the public can follow. So the media have a role to play by
Okay.
giving us the role, the airtime, so that we can use it to educate the general public. The
Thank you
school,
so much for
yes.
sharing that with us, Felicity. Thank you for letting us know that. And thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you to Samuel, to the production team, Prince Afo, my producer, and to you, our listeners, for joining us. God willing, next week we will be back with Geek Squd. Up next is news. Stay tuned.
Joy.